Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Jess, and I meant to get this out actually on Valentines, but I didn't. So now you get this on like a random Friday. And whether you're in a romantic relationship or whether you're not with someone, I just kind of wanted to go over that, I think Valentine's is very important to remember that love as a whole is very important and not just loving someone else. You yourself, you deserve to love yourself. And, some people also feel like, that they don't deserve to love themselves. And I was like, you know what? That's extremely fair. It's actually extremely hard to love yourself. You know what? Fair point. It is very difficult, I will say, coming from personal experience. But I think self-love is also a lot about the little things. So I'll send this over to my 2D counterpart to show you a little bit what I mean. But if we're talking about the 3D version, it's Gangnam Style. I've not figured out how to get it to work yet, and this makes me very sad. I can never love myself because I can't figure out how to put Gangnam Style in here. Alright, thank you, my 2D version of myself. And now, it is time to do what I've always wanted to do. My Dark Souls Valentines dating tier list. On a scale of worse than spending time with Petrus, which just so happens to feature Petrus right here, and then Ares, make Dark Souls characters marryable, and my life is yours. I don't really know how that sounded. What do you think, Dr. Guy advertisement who's behind me right now? He's quite shocked at my amazing voice acting. He's speechless. First off, we have Oscar of Astora. And gotta say, without Oscar of Astora, you would not have been able to break out of the asylum, right? So, that's pretty nice of him, right? Unfortunately, he lost the 1v1 to the Asylum Demon. And the Asylum Demon, I'm going to be quite frank with you, is a pretty easy boss. So easy, in fact, that you could throw firebombs at them and they'll be like, oh no, I'm dead, blah, and they fall over. Next time, lose to a more difficult boss. We're going to have to put you in the not quite yet. Guys, if it wasn't an Asylum Demon, I would put you in dateable, maybe serious relationship here. Crestfallen Warrior. Worse than spending time with Petrus. I hate talking with him. I'm gonna change not quite here to actually, we're gonna rename this to the friend zone right here. We're gonna friend zone, and then we'll add another one, and we'll have that one be not quite. Anastasia of Astora. Gotta say, Anastasia has a lot of other problems to really go through here, and you can definitely help Anastasia during the game by making Lautrec just happen to disappear. But I think for the moment, she also needs to kind of go over some of her own past trauma and really get to understand herself and really now enjoy life that her ex is no longer in the picture. She also does keep the bonfire active in Majula, and that's extremely based of her. So, gotta say, gotta put friend zone right here. Alright, yeah. No, I would be best friends with Anastasia. Very cool. We play Magic the Gathering on the weekends. And then we have Petrus. Oh, I have to update this one more time, actually. Alright, and there you go, Petrus, right where you belong. He's Petrus. So, unfortunately, she had to work with Petrus. And, I feel like things maybe could have been different for her. But, unfortunately, what I'm going to have to say is we're going to just have to put you in the friend zone here. Now we have Undead Merchant. Oh, this guy sells me bombs. Alright, now we have something serious here. Buddy sells me bombs. Love that guy. Solaire of Astora. This is going to be actually a controversial one here. So, I could never see, Solaire of Astora as, more than, my best friend, who also plays Magic the Gathering with me and Anastasia. We gotta have, one more person to play Magic the Gathering with, because 3, well, that's nice, but it's we need, one more person for, a 4-person game. Now, Andre of Astora, he's also not just featured in Dark Souls, but also in Dark Souls 3, and he shows up twice. That's how cool he is. So, gotta say, I think this is also another serious relationship one, Now, the only thing why I wouldn't put him in the marryable category is because I feel like, if I were to ask him, hi, honey, would you like to spend a night with me? We'll go out and we'll have, a nice dinner. And he's hammering on the anvil, and he's gonna be like, no. Moving on. Lautrec Oh. Oh my. You're a double-crossing swindler, big evil guy. But, not to give people bad advice here, but you know, I would only date you for the Ring of Favor and Protection here, just so I could get the Ring of Favor and Protection, which, you know, is it a toxic relationship? Yes. But if both people are toxic, it cancels out. Oh, Oswald. He's the last person we play Magic the Gathering with. So that's going to be our 4-stack for Magic the Gathering right there. Anastasia, Solaire, and Oswald and myself, we're all playing Magic the Gathering on the weekend. Griggs. I don't remember him, so I'm going to have to put him in I don't know here. Recur of Vinheim. I don't even remember you either. I'm going to have to put you in the I don't even remember. That's just an image of like him in a cage. I've seen Griggs before, but I've never seen. I'm going to be honest. I've never seen that guy before. I actually have never seen that guy before. Alvina of the Dark Root Wood. So she's a cat. Gonna have to put you above Rhea right here. Yeah. Shiva of the East, more like Shiva the Deceased. Get good scrub. Laurentius of the Great Swamp. He sells me fire stuff, you know? Yeah, I'll say he's a friend. I would put him above Rhea right here, you know? I'm gonna have to make a little bit of a controversial move here. I'm a big fan of this guy just in general, but you have to make a jump over to him to actually get the item stuff. And because in Majula, you have to make that jump after you find him in the sewers every single time to, like, upgrade boss stuff, and then it's like, it's the annoying Dark Souls jump. It's not, like, an easy jump. I mean, it is kind of easy, but, like, it's annoying. I can't say that's dateable. Like, you know, like, the location is just too difficult to reach, right? You know, I'll say we also play video games on the weekend, too. Quailana of Izalith. Oh, she sells me fire. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we're best friends. I'll put you over them because they sell me better fire stuff. I was like, best friend might have been a little too far. I'm like, oh, nope, not. That's a little too far. That one's a little too far. Fair Lady. Now, so you meet her after beating up her sister. So, and she doesn't really judge you for it. You know, it's like, that's cool. She has her own covenant, and she has some weird, goopy followers. But, you know, outside of that, she's really nice. Unfortunately, if we wanted to, like, go out for dinner, see a movie, anything like that, we could not do that because she is stuck to a wall. Which, you know, I definitely think it's fine to stay at home all the time. But me personally, I do like to get out of the house. You know, I can't really treat you to anything. So gotta say, it's like, we're gonna have to put you in dateable. You know, I think this would be, you know, this is like, oh, you know, we both like each other. But it's like, this is a very, very difficult thing to work out logistically here. If I was a bitch. Oh, we're putting that in serious relationship. You know, she's pretty chill. You know, you could spend all your time at home, but, you know, you can still be a very cool person, you know? Ooh, Onion Bro. Gotta put Onion Bro in top of my best friends. So it's like, these are all of my best friends, but he's my day one, you know? Big Hat Logan. I never ran Magic, but he has a big funny hat, so we're gonna put him at the top of the friend zone here. But his big hat is quite appealing. I'm gonna be quite honest. You know, we're gonna have to put him in not quite above Oscar of Astora, which, you know, it's like, I wouldn't date him. I don't really know anything about Magic, so I think it'd be awkward. But, I mean, that hat, that is a nice hat. But it's not nice enough. Dark Moon Nidus. Oh, she's a firekeeper. She's pretty chill. You find her in Anne Orlando. They set out, like, a limit where it's like, you know, don't murder Gwendolyn, and then I just so happen to stab them a bunch of times, and they're like, I told you not to do it, and that's the consequences of my actions. And, you know, gotta say, I'll probably put them in, like, a friend tier list right here, where it's like, you know, we're friends, and then I create a problem, and they're like, yeah, no, we can't do this anymore. Which, understandable. Giant Blacksmith. Alright, we're gonna have to just put you serious relationship. He shoots a dragon out of the sky. Princess Guinevere. So, spoiler for Dark Souls. So, Princess Guinevere isn't actually real in this. She's an illusion. So, this would be like a Chat GPT kind of like relationship here. So, gotta say... Would I rather be fooled by ChatGPT or recognize the reality of the world? Not quite. I'll put her at the bottom of not quite. You know, I'll say it'd be fun typing in prompts to ChatGPT and see what it says and see where it goes, but I can't, like, if I put it in Dateable, that'd mean it's like there's a degree where I actually take it seriously, and I feel like at that point I'm too far gone. It's over. Like, everything's over. Kingseeker Frampt. I'm gonna say Petrus. Framp wants me to keep the Age of Fire going, and, you know, I can't really, like, justify that. I'm going to be quite honest. I feel like trying to keep something going that has not been working is just a horrible, horrible idea. Ooh. Gotta say, best friends with them right there. We do karaoke on the weekends. Big fan of them. Ingward. I just don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember, but you always had a sick outfit that I ran in the game, so I'm gonna just put you in friend zone. I'm gonna put you above Dark Moon Knightish because you wouldn't get mad at me like that, you know, or I'm just gonna put you above everyone. Like, your outfit's so cool. Like, you have just a really cool outfit. I'm gonna be quite honest. I'd like you as my friend. Wait, can I buy, like, the hands from him to, like, beat up the ghosts? I forget. If that's a yes, I would move him probably up to best friends. Does that say Blacksmith Vamos? I never actually met Blacksmith Vamos. So I'm gonna have to put you at the top of I don't know, which Patches? I will not explain. Oh, that's Onion Bro's daughter. You know, we're gonna have to put you in, like, friends right here. Now, Elizabeth. I did not talk a lot with Elizabeth during the DLC. I just went up and beat up the Griffin-looking guy, and then I kept moving onward. I don't remember at all. Wait, there's a character called Marvelous Chester. Oh, he's in the DLC. I never met Marvelous Chester during the DLC. He looks so funny. Or I don't remember. If he's the guy I bought, like, the very good from, oh, I would feel bad. But he'd be so... No, based off of, like, his outfit, gotta put him in friend zone. No, he's, like, got a very, very cool outfit, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Oh, Giant Blacksmith isn't the one who shoots the dragon out of the sky. That's my bad. Gonna have to deduct a couple points there. Sorry, Giant Blacksmith. So let's just fix this right here. Thank you. All right, and let's go back down. Lord's Blade, Syrian. She's interested in Artorias, and she is still grieving. Gotta say, probably would be a best friend right here, you know, gotta say. Like, that's like... no, it's like, you know, I think it just, you know, no. I think it'd just be like, you know, nah. No, it's too awkward. You're right. Let's put her in just a friend zone here. She has a very cool outfit though. Havel the Rock. Worse than spending time with Petrus. Havel is always the evil guy that I have to fight whenever I restart Dark Souls and want to go to Dark Route. And let's just say every single time, it's always been relatively the same outcome, even though I've, like, restarted Dark Souls, like, 8 bajillion times. And, you know, it's always worse than spending time with Petrus. And, you know, that's just Havel, you know? So, actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to put you in I don't know category, Havel. Because, like, you know, you are what you're about, you know? Like, that's just so you. These are invaders. I don't remember you. Gonna put you up here. Gonna scroll down. Chaos Witch Quailag. She's immune to bombs, so worse than spending time with Petrus. She ruined my bomb run, and so I had to stab her, so, yeah, she gets put in the worse than spending time with Petrus category here. Crossbreed Priscilla. I'll put her in best friends, you know, it's like, she's pretty chill, like, she can be a boss fight, but, you know, like, she's actually just very chill, you know, very down to earth, probably someone I'd be like, no, probably would say is, like, pretty Onion Bro, so, you know, can be pretty talkative with her. Unfortunately, she is trapped in a dimension where only she can really be stuck in, and she can never really get out of it, which is really unfortunate. So it's like that friend you like visit like every so often, but like, you know, very chill though. But I was like, I'll still put that in best friends. It's like, that's not a call to like say that like they're not best friends. So, like, you know, when we hang out, it's going to be a nice vibe, but it's like, it's just every so often we're able to really hang out like that. Dark Sun Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is a big fan of illusions, and I cannot stand that whatsoever. We would never get along worse than hanging out with Petrus. They'd rather act like the Age of Fire is still going on and everything's still good than rather recognize the reality of the situation that they're in. Gotta say, gotta put the first one in Mariable right here. Loyal, sick ass armor, something I forget in the lore. They're the most difficult part of the Ornstein and Schmo fight, especially if you beat up Schmo, and they're a big fan of lightning. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest, they're just so cool. They are so cool. Unfortunately, their coworker is Schmo, so that's a little unfortunate. And they're defending an illusion ChatGPT AI center, and plus he would not die to Asylum Demon, so gets a lot more points over Oscar for that one. Schmo, he ate all of the beans at the cookout, and I wanted to have a side of beans, so I gotta say we're gonna have to put him in the Petrus category. Great Wolf Sif, best friend. Yeah, that's my best friend right there. Knight Artorias. Oh, two big ones back to back. You don't just get Artorias, you also get to hang out with Sif all the time. That's a very good deal, I'll be quite honest with you. I'll have to see which one I might have higher at the end of this. I'm gonna marinate on that for a second. Grave Lord Nito. You summon skeletons. You're worse than spending time with Petrus right here. Sorry. Seath the Scaleless. It's like a little bit better than hanging out with Petrus, I'll be honest. The Witch of Izalith. She turned into Bed of Chaos, I think, so that's actually worse than spending time with Petrus. Manus, Father of the Abyss. I spent a very, very, very long time beating up Manus when I was doing the DLC. It was probably, at the time, the hardest Dark Souls boss fight that I ever had beaten. But I gotta say, like, Manus stands on principle, so we gotta put him above Halo right there, you know? Gotta say, it's like, I can't hate him for the love of the game. But Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight. Gwyn, I will say, never got to really hang out with him. Got to hang out with, like, his corpse. From what I've seen, delusional. Absolutely delusional with thinking that he could keep something going just by himself. Where I think this is more like, would I want to romance the local governor? No. So we'll put him with Petrus. I would not want to hang out with Gwyn. It's probably going to be like politics and stuff and whatnot. I don't know. I think moving more into the Mariable category here, Luca Teal, because I remember my younger self really liking her, and I haven't really found any caveats, so might as well put her in Mariable. The Fair Lady, she's basically a gamer, so. Now, I gotta put Artorias over Ornstein. Gotta say, Artorias is just so cool. Like, even though Ornstein is cool, like, Artorias is cooler. And he also has a dog. The dog is a big bump right here.